All right, sound is good, right?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, guys. It's Lee here with What's It Like Lee podcast and video. I guess it's a vlogcast. Episode
Yeah,
one.
there you go.
Episode one. Kind of a
Mm.
pilot episode. We got Danielle and Shaun here with ShyPoke Studios out of Muncie, Indiana.
Yep,
All right, how's it going, guys?
not too bad. Good day. 60-degree weather, so coming
Yeah,
inside to do a podcast.
it's 80 degrees here in Vegas. So
Boo. Shh.
the wife and I went hiking this morning.
Nice.
So yeah, we're longtime friends. I grew up in
Yep.
Indiana myself. We all went to the same high school, grew up in the same town. Uh, we've all basically lived together at one point in time. Some interesting stories that we probably shouldn't share here on video.
Yeah.
True.
So
Good to skip the icebreakers at least.
yeah.
Shouldn't be anything really out there.
All right. So ShyPoke Studios, you guys are toy makers. Tell us a little bit more about the company or the project that you have going on.
Yeah. Basically, kind of getting older, considering ourselves old in our 30s. So we started making kind of bucket list type items, and from there we decided one of the things we always wanted to do was form our own company, be our own, run our own company, and just be CEOs and stuff. So we formed our own little LLC, and we decided to just be basically kind of have an artistic outlet for a lot of the stuff that always was rattling around in our brains, and just trying to bring it to life. And we like a lot of 2D art and a lot of digital art, but we just kind of playing to some of our strengths, which is just some more of the digital multimedia, and then kind of bringing that to life. So tech nerd myself, so went from rapid prototyping and 3D printing to kind of just bringing into art toys.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I've always known you guys both to be very artistic people. So, when I seen this on Facebook, how long have you guys been doing this now? It's been a couple years at least, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's is it our 2 year anniversary yet? I think we're getting close. I think sometime, yeah, I think around March, 2 years ago. So yep.
Nice. So when you mentioned that you guys have always kind of been into 2D art, so you kind of just naturally fell into this line, right? Just being artistic people, liking the 2D
Yep.
stuff, and 3D printers. What I mean, they've not been around. I mean, they've been around for a while, but not commercially available
Yeah.
for a long time. So
Yeah, I've
I
been
have wanted one forever. So then it's like they finally became like more accessible. So I
Yeah.
was like, get it. Just get
waiting
it.
for all the zeros to drop off of the price tag each year that goes by. And from the first time I looked at them, it's like, oh, I can get one. It's just like $100,000, no big deal. And it just finally started getting more and more accessible. And then we actually both went to college together for computer graphics and design. And she kind of went more in the 2D illustration type and more Photoshop, and I kind of started going off into the 3D computer graphics.
yeah, I mean, I can remember you doing like 3D work on the computer from back in the mid 2000s and stuff. So.
Oh yeah.
So obviously, you mentioned $100,000. You're not spending $100,000 on your equipment now. I'd imagine
No.
not. So, oh, go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, I want to. Like, there's definitely stuff out there to where it's like I just need to print myself an entire Iron Man suit. Like I just want to just print it and then just come back. Yeah, it's not quite to that level.
That'd be cool. One of the things that maybe I can edit in you in a suit.
Like get some like AR, like
Yeah.
augmented reality stuff going on.
Yeah, like Smaestron on Twitch. Have you ever seen Smaestron?
I think so. Yeah. We're so disconnected with like mainstream, like as far as like like social media and stuff like that. She actually did a Twitch stream for a while. There's a shameless plug for her. She plays Animal Crossing.
Nice. You also have another hobby that you just recently picked up. I saw. So.
What was that?
Your like emerald rock things.
Oh,
The minerals.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So maybe I'll have to bring you back on at a later time, and we'll have to get more in depth with that. So.
Be cool.
So obviously this kind of getting a little personal, but obviously, like I said, you're not spending $100,000. But if somebody was to
Right.
want to get interested in something like this, like, what could they expect as far as a startup cost?
Yeah, so it really just depends on what they're trying to get into. So if you're just trying to get into 3D printing specifically, so there's a lot of free websites where users like me will upload models or will take models from video games and have those, and they're just free to download and use. And then um, standard filament printers, you can get anywhere from $200 to $350 and get a decent quality print that'll print out and bring something you see on your computer and bring it into real life. And then even resin printers are around that $200, $300 range that'll do a decent quality. So from there, it really just depends on how much you want to build. Now, if you're getting into where you're starting to do some molding and casting and actually making the toys, it's a huge learning curve. But it's fun and it's worth it, but you have a lot of waste material. So I always just recommend start small, and then just try to kind of build up as you go and just figure out what you want, and then try new things before you get all the way invested, because you might get into one avenue and then just want to completely pivot and go the opposite direction.
Now, are there programs that actually come with like the printers and stuff that allow you to design your products, or is
Yeah,
that
so
programming or?
yeah, so there's different sorry, we have some dogs in the background that are needing some love apparently. But yeah, we have, so 3D printers commonly will come with slicer programs. So if you have a 3D model, it'll actually take that 3D model, and the way it prints is it just prints it generally thousands of different layers of material and just builds it back way up. So that will be taken care of for you. But usually if you want to actually start building something and pull something from your brain into reality, there's applications out there. So Autodesk, which is the industry leader for AutoCAD and a lot of like technical drawings, they have something called Tinkercad, which is completely free to sign into and use, and it's all web-based, so you don't have to download anything on your computer. You can do it from just any type of Pixelbook or any type of light software. And then there's an application that I use personally called Blender that's completely open source and has a huge community, and you can do everything from that, from designing on just doing 3D modeling all the way up to doing full programming for video games and lighting and making movies out of it. So it's a super powerful program that's free to use and free for commercial use as well.
Nice. So for somebody to get into this, you said that you guys both went to school for computer graphics. Is that what I?
Yeah. So I would definitely say for anybody that is interested, don't worry about any type of formal education. So it's really, if you have an idea, you can go for it. You can execute on it. This day and age, there's YouTube and forums and social media. So me personally, I've never been a social media person, and now like Instagram is, I make tons of connections and talk to people and learn so much, and it's such a welcome, like, open community that you can learn so much just by talking to people and just reach out and they'll respond. Even if they have 50,000 followers, they'll still respond to you and give you direction on something you ask about. So as much as we did it, and I think we had the passion before we went down the toy making avenue to get it into that type of thing, so that's why we went there. But I definitely don't think it's a prerequisite necessarily. I'm sure that there are colleges and universities out there that have really good targeted programs, and I know a lot of people that went and they have some really stellar ideas and capabilities from school. But don't let that deter you. If that's something that you wanted to get into, then you can totally execute.
Nice. That's some pretty good advice, I think. So, I've seen some of your products on Facebook. You guys do have a Facebook page, ShyPoke Studios. Studio or
Yep.
Studios?
Studios.
Studios.
I believe.
Okay. This is
She's
this
in
is the
charge of
marketing
that.
manager, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So,
Teach them how to work Instagram, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. If you scroll all the way to the back, it was like Shaun wanted me to post this.
nice. Yeah, you've been gone off of social media for a long, long time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
So
yeah, severed that tie.
Yeah. So you guys have what, 2 or 3 products that you guys currently have been making some pretty mass production on and kind of putting out
Yep.
there? All right.
Yeah, so it was very. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say, do you guys have any of those products there, like to just show people, or?
Yeah, we'll show you. So the very first thing that we went through, and this was my first idea that I kind of turned brain goo into reality. So this is let's see if we can get them in here in frame. I don't know what the best way, if that would be in focus, but this
Yeah,
is
that looks pretty good.
the cool. Yeah, this is the Summoner. And so basically the backstory of this little guy is he is supposed to be, basically, he is in a secret organization or a super secret group that they form together, and they have sacred rituals that they meet together on, and then it just kind of, it's more elemental and definitely fantasy based and has some occult influences, even though for anybody who's nervous, no, there's no negative energy associated with these guys. But we first brought these guys to life, and I just made one or two, and they were absolute failures, like just falling apart and huge chunks missing out of them and bubbly and just ugly. But there was just a lot of excitement from them. And so eventually, after selling 2 or 3 rounds, we did a Kickstarter, and we set a huge goal on our Kickstarter. And what was it? The second day, we were over 100%.
No,
Well, we were.
remember? I said,
Oh, it was that night?
by midnight, we will meet our goal. And he was like, no way. There's no way that people like me. By midnight, met our goal.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it was.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So yeah, we 100% funded in the first day, and I think we ended up at just under 200% funded. So we've made, I think I'm right under 200 of those little guys that I've made so far. So it was definitely super stressful, but it was really cool to get out. So that was the first guy that I would say had a really decent reception from our following, that I was able to get out there and get into people's hands. And we actually currently just sold out. So I'm very OCD and very tedious and anal about having a finished product and something that's quality. So any of them that had small flecks or imperfections, I just tossed in a giant box that weighed about 25 pounds by the time I was done. It never intended to have them see the light of day. And I accidentally mentioned on Instagram that I'm just going to toss these in a giant box of boo-boos. And just everybody was like, let me see. I want them. Give them to me now. And so I busted those out. And ended up putting them for sale just at 50% off, and just posted just a couple of group pictures, posted those all online, and they sold out within like 7 minutes of every single one that I had. So.
Yeah, it sounds like you probably could have got full price for them.
Yeah, definitely. But I wouldn't have been able to sleep at night.
No, that's not what you were going for. So.
Yeah,
no,
sure.
I understand.
But it was something that, again, that's where, as much as I steer clear of social media, that's where I come back to it, is because having that support where I can just be experimental and just fail and like just try something and like, oh, that didn't work out, and somebody's like, hell yeah, I'd pay money for that. So like it encourages me to keep making different stuff and keep working on things. And then the second guy that we have, so this was actually the very first thing that we ever modeled and 3D printed and tried to mold. It didn't turn out so well because we were just starting, but so this is version 2.0, but we call this little guy, and I don't know if he shows up either, but
yeah, that's good.
This is per Dan, this is Big Booty Bear, and as you can see, if we turn him around, he still needs cleanup. He's a prototype, but he's got some big old booty cheeks right there that are going on. So this was basically Dan's brainchild. She goes, I want to make a bear, and I want him to be fat and chubby and have a big old butt. And then I just went through a couple of different sketches, and she's like, I don't like that one, I like that one, I don't like that one, I like that one. And I just kind of refined it a couple of times, and that's the little guy that came from it. So we plan to start having him available soon. We have our first 5 of the second version that we're doing through now. Yeah, there's the blue one that we have going.
Nice.
But so he'll be available shortly, and then I have I'm calling him BrainBot for now, but basically I have a robot that's where he has basically the only thing left of his human form is just his brain, and he's in a little dome, and he's just going to be a little robot. Work on him and have a couple other things in the work as well. But the biggest announcement that we have is we're actually doing our first toy show coming up at the end of May in Brooklyn, New York, 5 Points Festival. So we submitted our application, and it's a curated show. So that meant a lot to us just to be offered the ability to go. They liked our stuff enough, and we're big enough fans that they said, yeah, sure, you can have a table. So we have that going. So we'll have those, and hopefully if all goes well and I don't spaz out and have an aneurysm before then, we'll have 2 or 3 other things available there at the booth with us.
Nice. And now you guys have connected with quite a few people. You said through Instagram, but just following your guys' Facebook page, you guys have actually went and attended a lot of toy shows just as viewers, right?
Yeah, for sure. So it's actually come full circle, which was really neat. So the first official big toy show that we went to was the 5 Points Festival in Brooklyn, New York, and that was just last year. So we went in 1 year's time. We went from the very first toy show we ever attended as like customers and blew up my entire credit card limit just buying toys and filling these back here. To a year later, we're going to actually be going there and hopefully recouping some of those funds. But no, and then we actually got to travel. So neither of us have ever been to California before, and we just got to go to Anaheim, California, and have a family trip to Disneyland and everything, and then check out Designer Con, which is one of the scene's biggest shows that they have. So that was super awesome to see all the artists there that are just world-renowned artists of just all the acclaim that you can think of. It was a really good show.
Nice. Now,
make friends too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
well,
starting to see the regulars and get into the community.
well, that was my next question. Is I was going to ask you, like, all the people that you have seen on Instagram and stuff like that. Like, I'm sure you've got to connect with a few of those people, like, actually in person now.
Yeah, no, for sure. So shout out to Fifth Turtle if he ever ends up checking this out. But he's a guy, we saw him at the first show. We saw him at Designer Con and bumped into him at the airport when we were coming back, and just a really down-to-earth guy. Yeah. And then Resin Rookie is another guy that he was just started just before me, and I bumped a lot of ideas off him, asked him a lot of questions. So it's actually, we all submitted a request to 5 Points Festival to be booth buddies, basically. So we kind of have a generation of us that just all started making toys right around the same time. Within a couple of months, it seems like that we're just going to kind of steal an aisle of the show and just kind of show off what we've got so far. So it's really neat to just connect with people of like-minded that they're completely different. Like a lot of them not even near the same thing that we're putting out there, but just the same drive and the same ideas to try to go out there and just make something a reality. It's cool.
Nice. Yeah. So shout outs to those guys. That was one of my.
I have a buddy in London. Skeleton Bolt.
Yeah, Skeleton Bolt's out in the UK. So yeah, that's the other biggest thing about social media for sure, is that yeah, there might be somebody a couple of states over that you could drive to and like hang out with, but there's people all over the world that I talk to, from Singapore and the UK and just all over, that it's just, you can just reach out and talk to them like they're an old friend, and they're hundreds or thousands of miles away. So it's definitely a neat thing to do, is make connections like that too.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like so in a year's time, it sounds like you guys have really grew like a lot. Sounds like you've really connected with a lot of people over the past year. So, obviously in the short-term future, you plan on coming up with more products, but where would you like to take this long-term?
Yeah, well, so fittingly, we just had a conversation about this. So it's one of those things. So we're lucky that this is more of a passion project for it. So we're not surviving off of this. And so we're able to just kind of have our own pace and stuff. So there's a lot of artists, like legit the phrase of starving artists. There's a lot of people that we've met that if they don't sell 20 of those things, they might not be able to pay rent type situation. So it's a completely different landscape that they have to navigate, versus we're just trying to balance family time and day jobs and work time. So it's mostly finding time, but we'll see how it goes. So I definitely want to move some things to actual mass production, but it's something that I want to learn and be involved in and learn from. So I want to try to figure out to where, how can I meet with somebody that's somewhat local, or go and be part of the process to see how you turn something from handmade into actually a machine produced. So that way, people that are interested in having the products can still have a really cool product, but it's not something where they're waiting on me. Because now there's definitely probably hundreds of people out there. It seems like, I don't know if there's that many, but there's a ton of people that are like, when are you going to post more? When are you going to have more available? And I would love to just, anybody who wants one, be like, boom, there you go, I got you covered. But it's a handmade process. It takes time, and especially when you're meticulous about stuff, when you're trying to balance everything out. So we'll see how it goes. I'm definitely stressed and wigged out about 5 Points Festival and coming up with stock and everything like that. And it might be one of those things to where I just get hooked and I always want to go to shows, and we just want to try to ramp it up. Or it might be something to where, for me to maintain my sanity, I have to actually kind of just scale back and try to make some really cool stuff and just release it when I can. So trying to wait to see how the cards fall as far as that goes.
Yeah. So obviously, so Shaun, you have a full-time job. So
Yep.
so you're basically working 2 full-time jobs right now. Like, what kind of time are you putting
Yep.
into the toy business? How much time do you spend on it per week, would you say?
Yeah, it just depends. So now that we're booked for a toy show and have stuff going, it's a lot more. Yeah. So I would say the best example of the craziest that it got is when we did the Kickstarter fulfillment. So we were pretty aggressive with the Kickstarter, and most Kickstarters, if you look, they'll take anywhere from 3 to 6 to 9 months to even a year before they deliver their product. I was like, I'll have the early birds in a month and all of it done within 60 days. And I did, but that's all I did. Like, it was literally went to work, came home, made toys, went to bed. So it can definitely get pretty excessive.
We played hide and seek with our 3-year-old.
Yeah, that's true. And yeah,
Well,
but no.
Well, that was my next thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off. That was my next thing I was going to say. Is I didn't mean to. So Danielle, she's a full-time stay-at-home mom. You guys are somewhat new parents. Shout out to being new parents. Shout out to stay-at-home moms. It's a hard job.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's
That
nuts.
stuff ain't easy.
But no, I didn't mean to cut you off there. What you were saying?
Oh no, you're good. Like, but no, that's really what it is. So it's toy making, especially resin specifically. So there's lots of different toy making out there for sure. There's people that will do hand sculpted stuff with clay and then cast it, and there's people that will do digital. And that's the easy part. But the actual resin casting is where it gets really interesting because it's hurry up and wait. So, and trying to time things to be the most effective and the most productive. So, I can show one right now. So silicone molds is where basically all of this is actually what the little bears come out of. And that mold took about 2 hours to cure. And each bear that we make takes anywhere from 15 minutes to 4 hours, depending on the type of resin and the type of effect that you're trying to get. So you have to constantly be like, okay, I'm going to do this. This will take 2 hours while I'm doing this. I can sand this while I'm doing this. I can cast this next thing. And while I'm doing this, I can make a digital model. So it's spinning plates is the best way that I can explain it. So some days I'm just waiting on stuff to cure and I can actually take a break, have a beer and chill with the family. And then some days I got such a groove going that it's just nonstop for days on end. So it really just depends on what I'm trying to produce or where I'm at in the middle of a phase. So.
Nice. So,
Yep.
Nice. So, for people that come across this video, you've mentioned Facebook, ShyPoke Studios on Facebook. They can find you on Instagram under ShyPoke Studios as well.
ShyPoke Studios. Yep.
And you guys actually have a shop. I know that it's through like a third-party vendor. What's that shop?
Big Cartel. So ShyPokeStudios.BigCartel.com. Sounds like a mafia ring, like drug cartel thing, but no, it's completely legit. I've said that URL to a couple of people, and it totally freaks people out. But no, it's a really good shop site for artists and people trying to release creative products. So
this is not a cover for a drug operation.
Yeah, we're not laundering money or anything. Not that scale.
She looks a little sketchy, so I don't know.
Well, I thought you said this was professional.
Yeah, we're getting a little out of line.
Yeah. But no, I mean, it's I always try to be nice. So there's definitely people that scan and try to see when stuff's coming in the shop. But if you follow us on social media, I always try to give a heads up before I just drop stuff out there, just so people have a chance. But
all right,
and
cool.
On both our social media pages, you can find the website.
All right, cool. Yeah, and I'll add the links to those pages in the description of this video as well. We might change the title of this podcast here to Out of Line Lee. So
there you go. Look at that. You just have the head cocked. Mm-hmm.
No, so I really do appreciate you guys coming on, being my first guest.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe if this catches on and you guys continue to do what you do, down the line when you guys are bigwigs, I can have you back on. And
yeah, there you go.
So, all right, thanks guys. Again, ShyPoke Studios out of Muncie, Indiana. Link will be in the description. Thank you all for watching.
Thanks.